Hello, my undead friends. Welcome to All You Need Is Lore, a preparatory series that will be laying the groundwork for more in-depth and high-quality lore videos in the future. I am your host, the Dark Hollow, and I hope you are having a magnificent day. You are very much encouraged to discuss the lore in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Elden Ring video. My name is the Dark Hollow, and today we are doing things a little bit different. This time the whole video is going to be in post-commentary, because honestly, while I was recording this video, I was having a throat infection. I might have mentioned that in previous videos. So my voice just sounded really bad, and yeah, I was just so tired. So the commentary wasn't the most exciting commentary that I ever did, and I thought that yeah, I just wasn't happy with the overall quality of the video. So right now on the map I'm showing, yeah, it even was so bad that I wanted to redo the recording. So I actually redid a part of the recording, and I was explaining here that I explored part of the Weeping Peninsula, but I didn't really do anything interesting. We talked to one merchant and we went to the entrance of one dungeon, the dungeon to the right of where I'm looking now. So yeah, I was probably just rambling on here. Irina is the girl whose father was a guardian or a commander of the Castle Morn, and she wanted us to save her. So we still have to do that. We'll probably do that in maybe the next video. So right now we are going back to the dungeon in the first area of the game after the Chapel of Anticipation and the Cyan fight. We awoke here and we were found by Melina, our finger maiden, and she gave us our tear flasks. And then we woke up, we did the tutorial, and then we walked past a fog gate that was unlockable with a stone sword key stone sword key. But I said I wanted to wait before using my stone sword key on that, because I thought the area was really hard, or so I'd heard. But now there is an item here that I really wanted to get, so that's why we are here now. So we're just going back to the beginning to retrieve a little item. A really good item though. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this level design, or this dungeon design, where it's just a gimmicky thing you have to run from. And you see why. It basically kills you if it touches you. Do notice, however, that the chariot, the scythe chariot, is mounted by a tree sentinel, I believe. He has the crest on top of his helmet, which kind of reminds me of a Roman centurion. And I think Eridin said that it is possible to kill the tree sentinel on top of the chariot, but I'm not sure how. And the chariot is fully mechanical from what I can see. Yeah, it seems pretty mechanical. Also, I found it interesting while I was playing here that these are phantoms, it seems. Yeah, you can see them dissipating. And there you see me fail a drop-down jump. I had been playing some Dark Souls before recording this, so I was a little used to the drop-down plunge attack. But in Elden Ring, that's not a thing, I believe. There is actually a boss in this catacomb. And in the failed first recording, which I'm redoing here, I fought the boss. It was a tree spirit, I think. And it was a terrible boss. I mean, it's not a terrible boss, but we were just incredibly underleveled and there was just no way that was gonna happen. So that was another reason why I decided to reshoot this. Because it was just 15 minutes of me going through the dungeon, dodging the tree sentinel on the scythe chariot, and then getting to the boss and just getting clapped. Getting absolutely clapped. And here you see me die to the fire again. Because I came here before, but then the fire killed me. I mean, I came here during the first recording. But yeah, the boss was just way too over-leveled. So that was a little frustrating. I mean, the boss wasn't over-leveled, we were under-leveled. But luckily, I remembered that the item we want is not dropped by the boss. You can get it without killing the boss. So there was nothing to, yeah, there was really no reason to continue trying the boss. So I just decided to, yeah, not do the boss. I was like, fuck it. Why bother? We can always come back when we're more powerful. So while we are making our way down this dungeon, I'll talk a little bit about the channel. This is not an official channel update or anything, but there's gonna be a few changes. Well, the changes are already happening when you are seeing this video. And the changes are, we are gonna be doing some extra stuff that is not Elden Ring. Man, I love the twin blades. Such a cool moveset. Normally I'm just a sword and board guy, or a greatsword guy, but sometimes a little bit fancy dex weapons can be really nice. So yeah, so anyway, we're gonna be making not changes to the channel, but we're gonna do things a little different. We're gonna be diversifying our content. I will start streaming. By the time this is uploaded, I will already have done my first stream and uploaded it to YouTube. The game that we'll be streaming is Dark Souls 1, but there is a little twist. There's a little twist to what we'll be doing. We'll be doing Dark Souls 1 with a randomizer mod. A randomizer mod is a mod that just changes all the enemies to random enemies. And we're also having a item randomizer. Here I was finding out that hitting the flame spewing totem thing here with an arrow actually makes it go down. So that is something I'll have to keep in mind for the future. Because then you don't need to run there and hit it in melee. But yeah, we're gonna be doing items randomized, we're gonna be doing enemies randomized, and we're just gonna be trying to see how it is. Well, I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. It is hell. Yeah, the randomizer mod, it's just hell. I decided to, one of the settings you could do with the randomizer mod was to make the asylum easy, because when everything is randomized, basically your first boss could be, you know, Ornstein and Smaug, and then you need to find them at level 1, which is pretty much impossible. Yeah, I missed the item description there, but I don't think there was anything really noteworthy there. It says the lightning grease was made from fulminating materials, which are the flowers you can pick up at the lightning spots on the map. We have encountered those before. But yeah, the randomizer mod is pretty much hell, because even though you can get through the asylum alright and get to Firelink Shrine, once I got into Undead Burg, things got a little bit crazy. But you know, oh yeah, here we get ambushed by 2 grafted scions. Got a little stressed out while I was playing here. We find the Erdtree's Favor, which is the item that we came here to find. So at this point I was thinking, yeah, maybe we can somehow cheese the scions or kill them. So let's see how that works out for me. Spoiler alert, it's not gonna work out too well. Here I was looking down, I think. Okay, I'm not looking down, but when you look down from the bridge over there, you can see there's stuff down there. It seems you can walk in the depths below the bridge. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get there. I think I might have an idea now of how to get there, so we will come back here later for the boss and to go into the depths below the bridge. But at the time of recording I did not really have a clue how to get down there. And here you see me trying to cheese the boss with the flamethrower totem. But unfortunately it just didn't do that much damage to him. So I decided to try it the old-fashioned way, but then I saw that my damage output was not enough for this boss. So I decided to try the flaming totem. Sorry. I decided to try the flamethrower totem again. But yeah, it just didn't really work. And these guys will chase you. They will chase you for a while. They're really aggressive. So here I'm trying to find a way down. And then I die. Yeah, so there's a way to get down here. Maybe you can just jump. Maybe you can just jump down there, because falling damage in Elden Ring is pretty forgivable. So it is a talisman, the Erdtree's Favor that we just picked up. A talisman depicting a special blessing of the Erdtree. Slightly raises maximum HP, stamina and equip load. It is said that when the age of the Erdtree began, such blessings were personally bestowed upon the recipients by Queen Marika herself. So maximum HP, stamina and equip load. It is basically the Ring of Favor and Protection from Dark Souls 1, the FAP ring, which more or less, for most builds, I think is the best ring in the game. In Dark Souls 1 it breaks when you take it off, so that is the downside of the ring. You kind of commit to it. But here, I think you can just change the talisman wherever you want. So, and one of my buddies told me about this talisman, and he was like, he was telling me that it was basically one of the best talismans to use in the early game, at least in Limgrave. So I decided it would be a good power-up for our character. What was I talking about before? Yes, so I will be streaming the randomized Dark Souls 1. I was trying here to equip the heavy helmet, the Great Helm, or the Knight Greaves that we bought, but unfortunately we are still over encumbered. Our equip load is too high. So it really is a slight increase in your equip load. It's not too significant, but still, it's a nice. There are some nice bonuses from the Erdtree's favor that we acquire now. So I'll be streaming Dark Souls 1 randomized, I think once a week. I'll try to do it on Wednesday. So please join me. It's really casual. I don't read any item descriptions. I don't get into any lore. I'll probably be having, you know, a little alcoholic beverage or two, because you know it is my free night of the week, so I like to have a little fun, you know. Some of my friends will also be joining me in the chat, and if you have any requests about our build or how you want me to play, then just come in the chat and just tell me, because I would like to make this a team effort, if you know what I mean. If you guys have any ideas about, hey man, this build would be really nice for you to try in Dark Souls 1 with a randomizer, then I'm open to that. We also have a public Spotify playlist on the stream, so anyone can just, you know, put songs in there, and we play the playlist while we're streaming. So we're also just listening to some jams. And I'm like, go nuts, go nuts. You can pretty much put any music you want in the playlist. I don't care. I'll listen to it. I like a lot of kinds of music, so we should be good. So yeah, it would be nice if you guys could stop by. But I understand if you don't want to watch me get mad at the randomizer mod. And they'll be uploaded to YouTube as well. So you can, if you can't join me on the stream, you can always, just rewatch it on YouTube. Although you will not be able to listen to the Spotify songs because of copyright, so I edit those out. Which might be a little bit jarring, because you'll see me vibing out to some songs sometime, and then you won't be able to hear the song. So it will just be me banging my head and singing along to the song sometimes, without any actual song playing. But it's the only way, because I don't want to get copyright striked on those stream uploads. And also I will put I'll put my Twitch account link in the description or in the video while editing this, probably. So that is one thing we'll be doing. We'll be doing the Dark Souls 1 remaster with randomizer. And another thing I'm gonna do is play Dark Souls 3. I won't be playing it on stream, but it will be a casual playthrough. Even more casual than this Elden Ring playthrough. Just like barely any focus on the lore. And again, there is a little twist. We are gonna be playing the Cinders mod. Cinders mod is a mod that was released for Dark Souls 3, I think in 2019 or 2020. Wait, yeah. You see me trying to figure out the trap here of what I'm supposed to do. And for the life of me, I just couldn't figure it out. It seems like you can only go up here and then you stand in this little alcove. but there's nowhere to go here. So I was really confused by it. I'm curious if you guys already know what you need to do with the trap. It's pretty obvious actually, in hindsight at least. Anyway, while I figure out how this trap works, I'll go talk a little bit more about the Cinders playthrough. Cinders is a mod that was released a couple of years ago for Dark Souls 3, and it just adds a lot of content. I think it changes the map. It's like a complete overhaul, and that's great for me because I played Dark Souls 3 a lot. I played that game a lot, so I wanted to play it, but not the vanilla experience, if you know what I mean. So the Cinders mod is a great way to play Dark Souls 3, but still have a little bit of a fresh experience. And I tested it. I tested it and already recorded the first 2 episodes, which will be released soon before this this upload. Okay, let me rephrase that. The first 2 episodes of the Cinders playthrough should be released either just before I upload this post commentary or just after. And I had a lot of fun. I actually had a lot of fun. I was a little drunk. I came back from a party when I was I was drinking with a friend, not really a party. Well, it was a party, but not in the yeah, so this is the solution to the riddle. You need to jump under the platform. But when I looked down, I only saw water, so I was like, I'm probably gonna drown if I jump down there. Anywho, I had a lot of fun while playing the Cinders playthrough. Yeah, there were armors from Dark Souls 1, there were armors from Dark Souls 2, there's a lot of starting classes, there's a ton of new mechanics from what I could see. And well, there's armors that give a lot of effects, so I'm not sure if that is something that they added specifically in Cinders, but I never recalled that being a thing in Dark Souls 3. So you have an armor, if you equip it, that it raises your vitality. So armors have enchantments, which I'm not sure if I ever really saw anything like that in a Souls game. There's also, there was a boss from Dark Souls 2 that I fought during the second episode, which came as a huge surprise. In the Undead Settlement in Dark Souls 3, while I was playing it, all of a sudden I was locked in an area and there was this Dark Souls 2 dwarf type boss. And it just caught me off surprise. And that was a great feeling. It's a great feeling to not know everything about a game. You know what I mean? It's nice to be surprised sometimes, because if I were to play Dark Souls 3 vanilla, you know, I'm not gonna be surprised. I've played it like 3 or 4 times at least. So yeah, that will be a really cool project, I think, the Dark Souls 3 Cinders mod. I won't be streaming it, because yeah, streaming is kind of a hassle, so I'm not gonna stream 2 games at the same time. But it will be casual, and I'll be able to upload it more frequently because I won't have to focus on the lore and actually decipher everything and prepare for a more in-depth lore series in the future, as I'm doing with this series. It's just casual, playing some Dark Souls with a mod, just having fun. So, to summarize real quick, because I feel like I'm rambling on, there's going to be the Elden Ring lore playthrough. In the future, there will be an in-depth lore series on my channel concerning Elden Ring. Then second, we have the streams with the Dark Souls 1 randomizer. And lastly, we have the Cinders playthrough, which I hope we can upload I hope we can upload the Cinders mod quite frequently. So I hope you guys are excited for that. And I don't think that the Elden Rings, the amount of content that I can put out for Elden Ring will suffer too much. Because there are a lot of nights where I can't play Elden Ring anyway, because, you know, I need to be a little bit sharp to play Elden Ring. I need to read the lore and actually put some stuff together myself. And a lot of nights I'm just not gonna do that because I'm too tired or don't have the time. And on those nights, it's really great to just be able to do some Dark Souls 3 Cinders playthrough, because it's just so casual, and I don't really have to think or, you know, sound somewhat intelligent or coherent. I can just have fun, and that's always important, to just have fun. So this boss was I wasn't really happy when I saw that this is what I would be finding. When I came through the fog door and I saw this guy, I was like, oh no, not again. Because the Burial Watchdog gave me quite some trouble last time. And then this time he was supported by like 4 gargoyles. They're not called gargoyles, but I forget how they are called. Okay. Goblins? No, they're not goblins. I'll put it up on the screen if I remember to do it during editing, what they're called. But yeah, another watchdog. This one has 3 faces, and I believe the previous one only had 1 face. So that is interesting. But in the end, he was rather doable. It's a fair boss. I think I said that last time I played him. He's fair. The animations are a little goofy. The wind-ups are a little bit strange, but I like him. It's also nice how his head starts shaking when he's doing the flamethrower. So we got the demi-human ashes. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell. Spirits of demi-humans that are small in stature, but have a violent, brutish disposition. Though they seem somewhat intelligent, when night falls, their blood boils and they become feral. So the demi-humans become more aggressive during the dark. Notice again the corpses here clutching and reaching out towards the roots of presumably the Earth Tree, or maybe one of the minor Earth Trees. Alright, so that should do it for the channel update. The minor channel update, the unofficial channel update, I should say. So the rest of the episode, I want to do a little bit of a recap on the lore we have encountered, let's see, up till episode 4. Because up till episode 4, we encountered a lot of the basic lore, which is really important to know, I think. And there were a couple of things that I still promised to go back on. So yeah, we'll go do that in a little bit. First here we are fighting what I dub to be necromancers and a alien looking creature. So I think he uses gravity magic because it is purple colored, and in general I believe incantations are gold or yellow colored. They have to do with lightning and fire. Then you have sorceries, which are either blue colored or well, we have two schools of sorceries, I think. You have two schools of incantations, I believe. Pyromancy, well, not pyromancy, but like the fire magic and the more holy magic. Then you have sorceries, which are divided into glintstone sorceries and gravity magic. Now, gravity magic is purple in color, and glintstone sorceries are more light blue. See, for example, my weapon. It's more of a azure blue color, whereas his gravity magic is more purple colored. The design of this enemy is alien, if you know what I mean. It seems it's not something we have encountered in the lands between before. So I do believe this is an alien creature. We'll gain more evidence for this in the future. Look at the fungal white stuff on his body. Or maybe it is some kind of war paint, that could also be, but I think it looks a little bit fungal. They could maybe be scars. But this enemy looks really unique. And even though the enemy may not be an alien per se, there is definitely a link between gravity magic and stars and perhaps meteorites. And then look at these craters here in the ground. You actually see a little bit of fire remaining at the bottom, some embers. So what I believe is that these are shards of or chunks of a meteorite or star that fell from the sky and and they struck down here. And I believe that these enemies which we just fought either spawned from the chunks or shards of the meteorite, or they gathered here to possibly gather materials. Perhaps they try to gather the gravity chunks, the purple stones we just passed in the menu. Just speculation, but I think, I already watched some Elden Ring lore. I watched some of Eredin's Elden Ring lore through, and I know in the future there will most likely be some evidence that is going to support this. But I'll mention it when we get to that. But yeah, keep that in mind, that gravity magic seems to come from out of space, most likely. At least that is what I'm believing right now. Glintstone sorcery we will learn more about when we go to what's it called? The Liurn of the Lakes and the academy. So this part of the episode is gonna be a little sucky. I mean, okay. We'll get to that when we get to it. So for now, let's jump into the lore. The first thing that we have to discuss is the dialogue that Kenneth Hyde dropped on us in episode... I'm not sure which episode. It's the Mistwood episode. So if you want to rewatch the dialogue, you can go check out that episode. I might put a link in the description. But Kenneth just dumped a ton of lore on us. Not sure what I'm doing on the map right now. Oh yeah, I was explaining that I already visited this part of the map to the right of the road. So you can see, we are in the top right of the Weeping Peninsula. And I already rode around a little here, but I didn't really pick up anything or kill any significant enemies. So that was what I was explaining there. Then we have to get up on this tower. Yeah, I was so surprised that worked in one time, that I could make that jump, because I suck at jumping with torrents on small platforms. So I was just overjoyed that we just managed to nail it on the first try. Warming Stone. Rune fragment blessed with an incantation of the 2 fingers. It is said that the earth tree was once as warm as the gentle sun, and would gradually heal all who bathed in its rays. So notice once. It was once warm as a gentle sun, so it provided warmth and perhaps comfort to those who lived in the lands between. But now it is no longer warm, because as we have read before, the earth tree is fading. We also find the great turtle shell, a shield. Excuse me. Great turtle shell. Shield fashioned from a great turtle shell. The natural curve helps it contend with foes' attack. The turtle is a symbol of tirelessness, and the shield boosts stamina recovery speed. So, in essence, this is the grass crest shield from Dark Souls 1. A very good shield, especially if you're two-handing a weapon and you have your shield on the back most of the time. Having the grass crest shield on your back will still give you the buff for stamina recovery, so it's just a free buff at that point if you have the equip load to spare. Here we find some starlight shards. We already read that description, I believe. I was checking whether I could equip the turtle shell on my back and not be heavy load, but unfortunately I am heavy load. And I was also checking whether or not the turtle shield gave good physical damage negation, and it did not. It doesn't give 100 physical damage negation, unlike my other shield. So it is really a shield on back kind of shield. It's not a really effective combat shield. You use it mostly for the buff, I believe. So to enter this tower we have to seek 3 wise beasts. A little riddle, but there we see a turtle. See this turtle? So we have to kill 3 of the turtles in the area. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, I'll give you a little spoiler. It was not very simple for me. A little secret. So this alpha wolf is giving me a little bit of a hard time. Or maybe it's a dire wolf, I'm not sure. So now we're just searching for the 2nd and 3rd turtle, so that we can enter the tower. Doesn't seem to be a turtle in the lake there, so we check that. Then we check here a little bit more. And there it is. We found the 2nd turtle. So just 1 to go. I was like, where is it? I rode around the entire tower already. So maybe it's in a wider range. So yeah, a little secret, this search for the final turtle takes a little while, which I think is an excellent opportunity for me to recap the lore a little bit. So we're gonna jump into it right now. So regarding the first lore dump by Kenneth Haidt. Kenneth Haidt. So what he says is, 1. Godric does tarnished hunts. Godric's men, they hunt tarnished. They go around Limgrave looking for tarnished. And they sacrifice these tarnished for the sake of grafting. So the tarnished, they are rounded up, assumably. And then their limbs are taken and grafted to Godric or his scions. But Kenneth questions whether Godric is a lord, because Godric hid amongst the women and fled the capital. He is hiding from... He hid or he is hiding from Radahn in Stormvale Castle. So this happened during the War of the Demigods, which we will discuss a little bit later. Godric insulted Melania and lost in battle. Now he licks her boots. This is reinforced by a inscription on the Limgrave War Memorial. The swords we found stuck into the ground near the Gatefront ruins. And the memorial states, Godric the Golden, humiliated, having tasted defeat by the blade of Michala, now on his knees, begging for mercy. So yeah, Godric fled the capital, assumably after he insulted Melania and lost in battle. Then he was subjugated by her, I assume, or he you know, damn, I can't find the word. He was humiliated and he licks her boots. And then Godric, Kenneth Haidt also says that Godric is the last of the golden lineage. But yeah. So what can we take away from this? Sorry if I'm not being so coherent. I have these notes, but I was trying to decipher them while I'm talking to you guys. I made these a while ago, so it's yeah. Anyway, so he does tarnish hunts. He sacrifices tarnish for the sake of grafting, and he was humiliated by Melania, and he fled the capital with the women. When we encounter Godric, this will make more sense, I think, because he was humiliated, and by grafting parts of tarnish to yourself, he can appear as bigger and stronger and more intimidating. So he basically has a bit of a superiority or inferiority complex, I think it is called. So that was regarding the lore dump from Kenneth Haidt. Regarding Godric, the surcoat of his men displays the Urgatry and the Beast Regent. These are emblems of the golden lineage, symbols of a glory now past. So this description tells us that the glory days of the golden lineage are now past. And this is what I wonder. The golden lineage, is that the same as the golden order? Because we hear about the golden order a lot. Kenneth Haidt, for example, I believe he says that he serves the golden order and he is proud of it, I think. So if the golden order is the golden lineage, meaning the offspring of Marika, I think, then does that mean that Kenneth Haidt serves the offspring of Marika, the offspring that identify as the golden lineage or the golden order? I assume this is the case. I do assume that this is the case. And that is honestly the only way that I can make sense of the golden order that we've been hearing so much about. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind going forward. Regarding Melina, our finger maiden, she had some dialogue while we were in a church of America. So we spoke to her, and she told us that echoes linger here. And these echoes are of words that America once uttered. She uttered, "My lord and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace." So to divest someone of grace means she removed their grace, seemingly as a punishment. Their grace was taken from them by America. Then she says, "With thine eyes dimmed, you will be driven from the lands between." And that is an interesting little sentence she says there. With thine eyes dimmed, because though I may not have shown this in this playthrough yet, there are certain enemies whose eyes shine with gold. They have a golden light, or almost like a flame coming out of their eyes. The rune skulls, which we the rune skull over here, for example, it has glowing eyes, and then we get a golden rune. So if Marika took the grace from the Lord and his warriors that she speaks to, so she commandeers their grace. She takes over their grace. They no longer have the grace. This leads to their eyes being dimmed. So having the guidance of grace means that your eyes shine with gold, I assume. It means your eyes shine with grace. So that's why she says, "Thine eyes dimmed." This may speak for itself. It probably is really logical to you guys, but for me this was something that I kind of had to put together to kind of get somewhat of an idea of what grace is and where it comes from. Because if Marika is head of the Golden Lineage or the Golden Order, then we can link her with grace, as she can take grace away from the Lord and his warriors that she's speaking to here. So the guidance of grace may be similar to the guidance of Marika, in a sense. I'm just spitballing here, but it is interesting. Finally, Melina, the Finger Maiden, says, "Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die." So the Lord and his warriors were driven from the lands between. Their eyes were dimmed, and they were told to go wage war in a land afar. To who is she speaking to? I don't know. Why were they driven away? I'm not sure. In what lands did they wage war? Because it's not in the lands between. No idea. So there's not a whole lot I can take away from Melina's dialogue, but it was good to revisit that. I also took another look at the intro cinematic, and I tried to make a little bit of a timeline. So the events that are mentioned in the intro cinematic are: first, the Elden Ring is shattered in the lands between. Then Marika is nowhere to be found. So after the shattering of the Elden Ring, Marika disappears or hides, perhaps. Following that, we have the Night of the Black Knives, in which Godwyn was the first to perish. Interesting that he was the first to perish, but assumedly not the last. So I wonder who else perished during the Night of the Black Knives. Fourth, Marika, the offspring of Marika, the demigods, claim the shards of the Elden Ring. Now this brings into question which characters or bosses that we encounter are her offspring. While the narrator says that Marika's offspring claim the shards of the Elden Ring. While he's saying that, the cinematic shows us Rani, the spectral ice witch who gave us the ring to summon spirits, the spirit wolves. The cinematic shows us Radahn. It shows us Margit. It actually shows us Margit fighting Radahn, I think. Though it may not be Margit. I think there are other people like Margit in Elden Ring, but it's one of the Margit type characters. And lastly, it shows us the serpent bishop guy with the snake. Yeah, it's the bishop. It's the big head of a bishop, I assume, with a snake eating its brain. I do not know what his name is. So, after the Night of the Black Knives, Marika's offspring claim the shards of the Elden Ring, and this leads to the war for the shards of the Elden Ring by Marika's offspring. So then we have a big war, and we see all these Lordsworn soldiers of Godric strewn about the lands between. They are just everywhere. They're looking for something. Yeah, they're looking for something, and I think each lord has an army of soldiers, and that is why different areas in the game have different soldiers. But these soldiers are remnants of the war that happened. So then the narrator says, "Tarnished, rise, dead who yet live." The call of grace speaks to these tarnished, and a couple of the tarnished that he mentions are Horalu, Gold Mask, Fia the Deathbed Companion, the Loathsome Dung Eater, and Gideon Ofnir. So Horalu is the man with the Beast Regent. He has the Great Lion on his back. And I think Horalu's title or actual, his actual name is Horalu, but I think he is referred to by most people as Godfrey, whereas Godwyn was the first to perish during the Night of the Black Knives. Godwyn is killed in the Night of the Black Knives. He has like the long blonde hair guy. But Horalu is Godfrey, and he is the more tribal lion warrior. So this is just for me to keep them apart. You have Godric, who is the grafter. You have Godwyn, who is the blonde guy who was killed in the Night of the Black Knives. And then you have Horalu or Godfrey, who is the man with the Beast Regent. We met we didn't meet Goldmask, but we met Fia, the Deathbed Companion, and we met Gideon Ofnir. So we met two of the Tarnished that the narrator mentions. Finally, the narrator mentions that we travel to the lands between to stand before the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. So this is all that I can gather from the intro. Elden Ring shattered, Marika's gone, then the Night of the Black Knives happens, and Godwyn was first to perish. I believe Godwyn was married to Marika, by the way, and they have offspring, which are the demigods, I assume. So the demigods are the offspring of Marika and Godwyn. These demigods claim the shards of the Elden Ring. A great war starts, and then the Tarnished rise to claim the shards of the Elden Ring from these. Sorry, the video, something, my computer is being a little weird right now. So I was a little shook by that. But I'll continue anyway. So yeah, then the Tarnished rise to claim the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of a timeline of the events that happened before we arrived in the lands between. Okay, so let's go on. Let's talk about the Round Table Hold. The Round Table Hall is located outside of the actual world. This is one of the first things that... No, actually, let's go back a little bit. We have two more Melina dialogues that I want to discuss. Melina is our finger maiden. She is the... just a second. She is the person that levels us up. She's our finger maiden. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit scatterbrained. I'm rendering a video while I'm watching the footage, and near the end of the rendering, the video just stopped and things got a little bit weird. So anyway, let's talk about those Melina dialogues. In the first dialogue of Melina, our finger maiden, she says that finger maidens serve the two fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. They turn runes into strength. One question I have is, what exactly are runes? They are obviously equivalent to souls from previous games, or blood echoes from Bloodborne. But what do they represent is what I wonder. Melina asks us to take her to the foot of the Earth Tree. To the foot of the Earth Tree, so we can become Elden Lord. Why would we need her for that? Why do we need to bring her to the foot of the Earth Tree? Questions that I do not yet have the answer to. Then in the second dialogue of Melina, she states that she tested us to find out whether or not we were worthy. This is after you get the first dialogue when you discover a couple of sites of grace, and then the second one you get once you leave Limgrave. So we left Limgrave once we went to Caelid. Then in Caelid we lit a site of grace, and that was the trigger for the second dialogue. So when you rest at the site of grace outside of Limgrave, Melina will come to you and she says she was testing you to see if you were worthy, and she'll take you to the Round Table Hold. The gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace. So let's talk about the Round Table Hold. The Round Table Hold lies outside of the actual world, and when we arrive there we talk to Sir Gideon. Gideon tells us it's been a long time since a new Tarnish came to the Round Table Hold. He states we are merely a visitor, and we need to earn our keep. We need to remember our place. We get the sense we're looked down upon by Gideon, and perhaps other people in the Round Table Hold also look down on us. Interesting that Gideon, because he's been there longer, can take a sort of senior position compared to us, and he's apparently allowed to look down on us. Then we talk to Corhin, who is the vendor for incantations. He states, the monk, I should say. He states that our incantations are strength granted by two fingers. The two fingers. And Corhin explores the secrets of the Golden Order. He does this so that one day, if a Tarnish of the Round Table Hold should become Elden Lord, he might counsel them, so that order should return. From Corhin's dialogue, what I gather is that the two fingers are linked to the Golden Order, because incantations are the strength granted by two fingers, and also he explores the secrets of the Golden Order. So there's a relation between the two fingers and the Golden Order, I assume. There's also a link between those things and incantations. And there is a link between those things and grace, or the guidance of grace. So incantations, the two fingers, the Golden Order, or lineage perhaps, and grace and guidance of grace. Those four aspects are linked together. I hope this makes sense, but I'm trying to just categorize things a little bit in a way that makes sense. When we look at the incantations. Oh, by the way, in the footage you see me. I was just googling at this point what I need to do to find the turtles because I was so sick of just looking around. Anyway, when we look at what Corin sells, he sells incantations, and one of the incantations, Urgent Heal, tells us the two fingers have high hopes for Tarnished. So the two fingers, we are playing by their agenda. They want us to follow their agenda. The two fingers, I gather from this. Another incantation, Magic Fortification, says, follow the path that has been set for you, and you will make enemies of others. Monks, sorcerers, ancient dragon knights, science of gold, heed me. The lands between offer no welcome to Tarnished. So we need to follow the path that has been set before us by the two fingers, who have high hopes for us. But we will alienate other people. We'll make enemies of monks, sorcerers, ancient dragon knights, and science of gold. Why? Why would they stop us from gathering the shards of the Elden Ring and assumedly putting them together? The miracle rejection states, if you truly walk in faith, you must be prepared to reject all else. Which kind of links to alienating and making enemies of others. So there's a path by the two fingers, or the guidance of grace, or the set by the golden order, perhaps, or the golden lineage. No, wait, let me rephrase that. The two fingers, they offer us guidance. They offer us guidance of grace, perhaps. No, let me rephrase that again. The golden order, a golden lineage, offers us grace, I believe. And another agent for the golden order, perhaps, is the two fingers, who set a path for us. But following this path will make enemies out of others. Now, why would these others, for example, the Science of Gold, which I think is the Tree Knight, why would these factions reject us when we try to become Elden Lord? Why would they try to stop us? That is a question that I cannot answer now. And then lastly, there's an incantation of Corhin, which says that the flame of ruin is anathema to the earth tree, which makes sense. It's a flame of ruin, so it ruins things, and the earth tree is a tree, so I believe it might be able to burn with this flame. Now, what is grace exactly? Because I've linked grace with the Golden Order, two fingers, and incantations, but what is it? The memory of grace tells us, memory of grace, which once guided bygone Tarnished to the lands between. It is merely a cycle. Stand before the Elden Ring, become the Elden Lord. So it once guided bygone Tarnished. So it once guided bygone Tarnished to the lands between. In the intro, it seems that the Tarnished that the narrator speaks of, so the Dung Eater, and Sir Gideon, they are dead in the cutscene. The Dung Eater is hanging by a rope. Hanged? Yeah, he's hanged by a rope. And Sir Gideon is in a coffin, and there are a lot of gargoyles outside of the coffin, so that's another thing that I noticed. But yeah, so that makes sense. Bygone Tarnished, so people who have died. And the first grace once guided these bygone or dead Tarnished to the lands between. And we came, so here we finally found the last turtle. No idea why we couldn't see him, because I rode all around this goddamn lake and there was not a turtle in sight. But the other turtles, we didn't need to just randomly attack into the air to discover them. We could see them from a little distance, but the final turtle is just invisible, like straight up. We couldn't see it. Is this maybe a bug or a glitch that I couldn't see the turtle in the lake? Because I get that they're spectral and we shouldn't be able to see them from really far away, but we straight up could not see it at all until I randomly attacked in the middle of the lake. Please let me know if this was also your experience, because it was really frustrating.
Where are the turtles?
Sausage.
Where are the turtles?
Come on, guys, get out of here.
Where are the turtles? Where are they? Excuse me, I have an announcement to make. We seem to be missing a box of turtles, and we will not be leaving the premises until we obtain them. Hand over the turtles now!
Anyway, back to the lore. The flask of crimson tears tells us that a sacred flask that was once graced by a tear of blessing. So it was graced by a tear of blessing. What are the tears? I know tears can be found at the foot of minor earth trees. And I guess they drop down from the earth trees, but maybe like some sort of sap, you know? Like you have maple syrup, which is like a sap of a tree. Perhaps it's comparable to that. White Mask Faray tells us he assumes we are tarnished and came to the lands between for the Elden Ring, but we have no guidance, no strength of runes, and no invitation to the Round Table Hall, and no maiden. Then he says, even though we are maidenless, grace is our hope. Grace, according to Faray, is the golden light that gives life to us tarnished. So it provides tarnished with life. It not only guides them, but it provides them with life. That is what grace does. That's its function. Faray furthermore says, guidance of grace are rays of light, or grace, that show the path a tarnished must travel. Grace's guidance holds the answers. And according to Faray, it is going to guide us to Stormville, to Godric. Assumedly to obtain the first shards of the Elden Ring from Godric. So the purpose is to guide us, to give us light, and where does it guide us to? To the shards of the Elden Ring, which we must claim to become Elden Lord. Seems simple enough. Here we run into the Knights Cavalry. Really cool enemy. Really cool enemy. I love the cloak of the horse. And just the black armor and stuff. It's really, really nice. The final item that we read that tells us a little bit about grace is the golden rune item. Grace that dwells within the inhabitants of the land between. It's a lingering trace of gold. So this, we mentioned this a little bit before, that, just a second, I'm looking through my notes. Yeah, when America, she says, with thine eyes dimmed, you will be driven from the lands between, because she took the grace of the person she's talking to. So maybe grace is disappearing or is being removed from all inhabitants of the lands between, not just the warrior, the lord and his warriors that she was talking to. And that's why there's just a lingering trace of gold or grace that is still within the inhabitants of the lands between. It kind of implies that the remnants of grace or gold that still remain in the inhabitants is a shadow of its former self. The grace within the inhabitants used to be more pronounced. There used to be more of it, perhaps. So yeah, grace, what it is still a little abstract to me, but I think we can link it to the Golden Order, Two Fingers and incantations. It is it's a shadow of its former self. It's lingering. It is. There's not as much as there used to be in the glory days. So that is all I can say for now on Grace. Another thing that we read about is the ruins that came from the sky. The rune fragment tells us stone fragment found near places where runes have fallen from the sky. These shards are believed to have once been part of a temple in the sky. Glow with faint light from within. So, a temple once fell out of the sky. We already talked about this and I don't have a lot to add to it. There's no new insights here. But I just wanted to reiterate that that's a thing. Here I discovered that he can, the Knight's Cavalry can resummon his horse, which kind of pissed me off. I thought that I would have the advantage because his horse is dead, but that was not the case. Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about real quick is are the Finger Maidens. The Finger Maidens are only women because a crafting book talks about a man who was unable to become a Finger Maiden, and so he became a craftsman or a merchant or something. Yeah, nothing more to say on that, but it was in my notes, so I want to bring it up. And then on the catacombs, yeah, finally, the catacombs, when you go there, there's a link between the catacombs and the Earth Tree, because at the end of every catacomb dungeon you see the roots of the Earth Tree in the boss room, and you see a lot of corpses reaching out to it, or clutching it, or being attached to the roots. So first of all, the Earth Tree tells us the Earth Tree flower tells us that the Earth Tree is fading, which makes sense because the Earth Tree looks a little spectral. It is translucent. And this kind of links to, yeah, the fact that the age of the Earth Tree is ending, I believe. It is fading. The trace of gold is fading. So there's not really any new information there, but it is confirmation of what we already knew, I believe. Then in the first dungeon we encountered, a ghost who states, "Proper death means returning to the Earth Tree." And what I believe that he means is that ashes need to be returned to the Earth Tree before someone can get a definite... the Earth Tree's old sap becomes amber, treasured as the most precious of... Damn it. Wait, I'll go back. That seemed like an important item. Oh, this is embarrassing, guys. This is embarrassing. I was so deep into my notes that I forgot to look at the footage. So I'll take care of that real quick. There we go. The Earth Tree's old sap becomes amber, treasured as the most precious of jewels in the Age of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. A primordial life energy resides inside. So yeah, what I was talking about a couple of minutes ago about tears perhaps being the sap of an Earth Tree or a minor Earth Tree, this perhaps confirms that a little bit. What was I talking about before I got distracted by this description? Oh yeah, I was talking about the way that the corpses are clutching the roots of the Earth Tree within catacombs and dungeons. And that ashes perhaps must be returned to the Earth Tree before they can rest, and that's why they are clutching the roots of the Earth Tree in an attempt to gain final rest. But we find a lot of ashes that are not returned to the Earth Tree, which are the creatures we summon. So why can't ashes be returned to the Earth Tree? I do not know. Is that the reason why we see quote-unquote undead, tarnished, walking around? You know, the guys that have lost their minds, like Godric's soldiers, for example, they have lost their mind. Is it because they died, but without their ashes being returned to the Earth Tree, they do not gain any rest? And last thing on the Erdtree, apparently before the Erdtree, the Flamedrake Talisman tells us this. There were dragons who protected their lord as a wolf living a rock. So yeah, that's interesting. Guys, that was all I wanted to recap. It may not be very coherent. I may just be rambling. This lore is pretty tough for me to figure out, but I thought it was good to give a little bit of a recap. And during normal episodes, I'm so busy with focusing on the game that actually gathering my thoughts, and making things a little bit clear for myself, forming a timeline and categorizing different aspects of the game, such as the two fingers, the golden order, grace, incantations. I don't really find the time to do that, to categorize and make timelines. So I think it's good every once in a while to do a post-commentary episode where I kind of recap everything, make some notes, and kind of actually tackle the lore a little bit more, because playing the game takes a lot of my attention, and talking about the lore also takes a lot of my attention, and both of them are sometimes too hard to do together, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we'll do this more often. Every maybe 10 episodes, we'll just do a post-commentary episode where we recap the lore and everything that we found up till then. So this will be the episode. The footage actually already ended a long time ago where I'm sitting, so I'll have to shorten my audio a little bit to fit the video, but yeah, we'll be fine. Okay, guys, thanks for joining in. Let me know about how you think about the lore. Let me know if you think I'm wrong about some of my conclusions. And let me know what your ideas are about the lore, about what I just discussed. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.